And now we're live for round 13 of the PRD World Championship here in the Indycar for 2016 at the Belgian Grand Prix. A shocker turn of events here in qualifying. It certainly looked as if no, not really, and Fiskerton were going to take the pole. Fiskerton still has, currently at the moment, at the dying laps of qualifying, nailing that pole position lap. We've got Bullet chasing right behind him. Big O into P number 3, somewhere I haven't seen him before in a while. We've got Sinister in P number 4. He's going to be upset that he's gotten that third place taken from him. No, not really, into P number 5, which isn't too bad from him, but again, it isn't too good. He might want to try and see if he can do something on the start when the green is called. We've got Static Energy in P number 6. Pretty decent qualifying from a man. We've got Flying Spartan P number 7. Doing well so far this season in that Flying Spark Castrol green car that we always love to see him in. I'm still looking for the Dragon. Oh, there it is. It's right on the side. I think it's more of like a Griffin, but no, it's a Dragon. I'm wrong. And we've got Rip Chief Jedi up in the P number 8. Definitely not where he expected to be in qualifying. He's probably going to be looking to drive his way back up the field, kind of muscle some of the cars out of the way and try and get right over there racing in some panties. He is, my dear boy. We've got Gosu Noob up into P number 9, that Jurassic Park machine over there, coming through the no-name corner on the run down to Puan. We've got Tech G in the pace car. The pace car. That is great. Shout out to Tech G for putting such an unbelievable pun in his car, even if it's unintentional. That is hilarious. We've got Meg Zero up in the P11. He's in the Julius Bar Limo car. Pretty nice looking car so far. Looks like a Sauber for the most part. We've got Scott Meek in the number 35 car. I'm not exactly sure which company that is. I think it's Oculus Rift. We've got Blind Yeezus in the, I believe, 1988 to 1993 McLaren Marlboro Honda powered IndyCar machine thingy majig in the number 76. And we've got Foxifier down in the P14 just ahead of last place, rounded out by Dead Eye Ski. So, very interesting field so far down the order. We unfortunately we do not have telemetry for this race and this race only, mainly because we had some technical issues with the stream, which took us a while to sort out if you have been watching since the beginning. And we also had a few mishaps with the I'm not sure exactly how you say this. Give me one quick second. We had a mishap with the HUD dash. Pretty much the HUD dash and telemetry reader, they kind of need to sync up before each race, and sometimes Project Cars doesn't sync up well with it, or it's not on run, and I didn't feel like exiting out and screwing up the stream just to try and get it to work, so we've got it all kind of synced up right now. We're going to leave it in that type of order. So here, I believe the cars are about to set up into double file order, and we're going to see a rolling start starting from the start and finish straight. Fiskerton's going to be controlling the race from here, I believe, as we've got Bullet off into P number 2. We've got Big O into P number 3, Sinister into P4, No, Not Really P5, Static Energy P6, Flying Spark P7, Jedi Chief 8, Gosu P9, and Mech Zero in Tech G in P10. That is our top 10 so far, and let us witness how well the start commences. We are all getting ready for the green flag here at the Belgian Grand Prix for PRD, and hopefully this start is a pretty good one. As the green flag drops, now they're making the way up through Air Rouge. As we see Big O, well, Bullet slot behind Fiskerton, who's got a car off. Sinister's way off into the wall. I'm not sure what exactly happened to him, but he's way down the order. Sinister's actually in dead last. He's definitely hit that wall quite hard, and he's probably going to be limping back to pits after this monstrosity of a start he's had this Grand Prix. We've got Fiskerton down into P1, Bullet into P2. Big O closing in straight back behind. We've got No Not Really kind of getting left in the dust from the front pack. We've got Static Energy in 5th, Flying Spark in 6th, Tech G in 7th. Looks like an overtake. Mech Zero on Gosu Nu for 8th place, I believe, after Sinister has flown off the track in such spectacular fashion here on the first lap. And now that's Mech Zero up into P8 behind Tech G, Ali Tech G. We'll see how much he deserves that nickname yet as we're going through Puon. Side by side, Gosu takes it up the inside of Mech Zero and snatches that 8th position back. We've meanwhile got the Cenomobile of Blind Jesus just closing into the pack ahead since they're battling so hard and desperately, and he's hoping to be making up some positions, well-needed points for this round indeed. We've got Gottmik into P number 11, and Dead Ice-Key having a bit of a race with Rip Chief Jedi, who's also found himself low down as well, and he slammed right into the wall on the first lap. That's got to be some damage. He must be going straight into the pits with such a slow first lap. We're going to go back up the field. Such an unfortunate race for those two veteran drivers as we go on to Fiskerton, who just seems to be pulling the hat trick out so far this Grand Prix. He's coming down up to La Source now, making the turn in. We've got Bullet coming in straight behind him. It seems like the gap's closed between No Not Really and Big O, and he's surely going to be looking up a move down the Kimmel Straight, but it's also going to be dependent on downforce configuration, the gearing configuration. Now, typically these two are hand in hand if you're used to setups and things of the like, as we've got Gosu and Mech Zero still battling out here on the, I believe, the fifth lap of the Grand Prix? Nope, the 3rd lap of the Grand Prix, indeed. As Mech Zero has the slipstream here, we've got a pass going on in the background. It looks as if, I believe, Tech G has had an incident and he's gone straight into the back of someone who wasn't. It was indeed possibly Scott Meek, who's probably had a screen full of front end plates into that corner. I'm not sure how exactly that's going to go. We've got Blind Jesus just trying to get a run out of the no-name corner down into Puon, but he can't quite get it done here. So he's just going to try and slot in around Puon. Not always the best idea because that dirty air in the wake and the wash kind of just pull the front end of the car up and you just start understeering straight off. And it's pretty hard to correct. You got to have some type of special setup to prevent some of that wash from affecting your car. But it seems like he's quite dialed into this sector of the track so far. He's just hanging straight onto the back of Mech Zero to see if he can reenact some of that racing action that happened days prior. We've got Gosu just checking out from the pack as well. He's off into P number 7, coming straight through into the chicane now. Braking relatively late. We've got some bumping going on up ahead. It looks like No Not Really and Static Energy having a bit of a race of their own. They're going down straight into La Source now. No Not Really is going to look up the inside very late on the brakes, and that orange machine flying straight through La Source almost gets a little bit of understeer in the car ahead. It looks as if that Timmy Turner car's trying to look for an overtake. He gets squeezed really short at Static Energy. He's going to try and see if he can get a run up this radar. He's going up around Rouge, almost runs into the back of Big O. So we've definitely got some racing here into P number 3 going down into P number 4. And it's just a pretty tight battle here as No Not Really is just trying to maintain that P number 4 to see if he can make his future stint count on the fresher tires, because currently his first stint is not working out too well for him. We've got Flying Spark just hanging on the back of him. He's in P number 6. He must P number 6. He must be ecstatic about the position so far. Decent ways away from Gosu Noob. Now, so far this season, Static Energy has indeed gotten very, very good first stints. However, something typically happens within the middle of the race. I don't want to cause commentators curse on anyone, but let's see how it goes. His Static Energy loses the rear end, flying behind Big O. He's very close into this sector 2, going into sector 3 through the fast right, left toward a chicane, S-bend, whatever you want to call it. And he's now coming through closing into Curve Paul Frere, and he's going to make the run down into Blanchimont. And I believe he's lost a bit of time to him coming out of Paul Frere. It seems as if Big O's kind of checked out on him a little bit to see if he can catch up to No Not Really, who's trying to eke as much of a gap as he can. He's gone all four wheels off the track on the exit of Blanchimont into the chicane. And we've got the battle between our race leader here, Fiskerton, and Big O, as we've also got some nice and interesting shots of the cars behind. Very nice indeed. But Bullet's going to be on the back of Fiskerton at the moment. He's going to be in the P number 1, exactly where he wants to be, exactly where he qualified in the number 3 Goodyear car. And Bullet in that Ferrari is just hauling some ass up El Rouge and trying to see if he can get a run on Fiskerton right here. And so far, Bullet has kind of been the de facto kind of El Primo of pace in the series so far in the past few seasons, and currently he's looking to flex his muscle a little bit and see if he can just rob some more points from the other competitors. That'd be pretty nice for him indeed. No, not really. He's not even too far behind, so currently it looks as if the top 7 are probably within 10 seconds of each other, if I were just to eye it, because that's probably about 3 or 4 seconds down the road, probably even 2.5, if I were just to guess. And they're kind of still in contention for battling, as Static Energy in that Timmy Turner car just making some great use of those rear tires in that off-board shot right there. It looks pretty interesting, as we're going to go on board with him now. He he's on the gas pretty early coming out of that section of corners. It makes it a little bit of a late apex so he can straighten it up for this next section of corners. You don't want to dip a wheel too far off to the right there into Curve Paul Frere. You can lose the rear end of the car very easily. The rear end's quite touchy around this track. Front end, not so much. It takes a special kind of tuning to get the front end to bite a little bit more than want. But the rear end definitely is a bit of a shocker, as he's outbraked himself right into the chicane, almost stalled the car, and almost run Bullet Big O straight off the road in the number 28 car. And that was a very close one indeed. He must have missed a braking marker or something going into that corner. We've got Flying Spark, Gosu Noob on Flying Spark coming through La Source right now. And Flying Spark seems to have gotten a better run out of La Source as a whole, and he's going to be looking to try and see if he can keep ahead of Gosu Noob in that Jurassic Park car, but Gosu's gotten a flying exit out of El Rouge. I'm not sure what kind of momentum he's carrying through there. He must be surely thinking of looking up a move up the inside. He's definitely thinking about it. He's gotten the brakes, but he thinks better of it. Slots right back in behind Flying Spark, and that's back into P number 7. I believe exactly where he started. No, indeed, it's where Flying Spark started. Gosu started in either P number 8 or P number 9, if I remember correctly, as we got Mech Zero off into the 8th position, Blind Yeezus off into the 9th position, Tech G flying around in 10th, and Deadeye Ski in 11th, and we've got Rip Chief Jedi coming down toward La Source now, and he's currently in 12th place, and we've got Sinister tracking him down. So the 2 cars who've gotten involved in the first set of incidents in the race near lap number 1 are now kind of doing a hot lapping session to keep up with each other, which is pretty interesting indeed, as we've got Fiskerton and Bullet side by side going down into Blanchimont, wheel to wheel, almost run each other off the road. Bullet's crossed over on him. Fiskerton's got on the other side, the Gordy of the chicane. He's going to go and see if he can make a move around the outside, and now he's going to attempt the switchback. Bullet's going to see if he can cut it off, and Bullet's now nabbed the position for first place so far, but it's not over yet. We're on board with Fiskerton now. We're going toward La Source, and it just looks as if Bullet's just checking out of there, going into the final corner down the main straightaway, but Fiskerton's gotten a way better run, it looks like, from this angle. We won't know for a little bit, but it's definitely a battle enraging between these 2 drivers, and no, not really, just keeping in line with them just in case one of them makes a mistake, as Fiskerton's going to try and re-overtake around the outside, coming into Lake Combs, 5, 6, and 7, and he's gotten the pass done before the corner. very late on the brakes and manages to take his spot back. So brilliant stuff from the two drivers, one in the Goodyear car, the other one in indeed the Ferrari Fiat car, minus the Ferrari. It's pretty much a Fiat. But we've got No Not Really. He's going to be onto the orange cell phone colored car. Apparently it's a cell phone company. I did not know that, but he's also got some Red Bull on there. And I wonder if he can get us all some discounts on that. That would be pretty nice. But we're going back on board with Bullet, who's under pressure from No Not Really. So will this be some racing action? We'll check back onto this in a moment as we've got Big O off into the 4th position, Static Energy in 5th position. Flying Spark still fending off from Gosu Noob coming in through Paul Frere now. And we've got Mech Zero trying to get as much of a gap to Blind Jesus as possible. We've got Ali Tech G. He's going to be further down the order. He's coming through Sector 2 now, I believe, coming toward at least the... Actually, he's coming through... Yeah, he's coming through the end of Sector 3 now. We've got Rip Chief Jedi, who's also coming through Sector 2. And it seems as if we've got Dead Ice-Ski kind of just keeping pace on the back of them. So, we're gonna go back on board with Flying Spark and Gosu so far. And it doesn't look as if Gosu is close enough yet to make an overtake, but he seems to be closing up, coming through El Rouge. And he's gone straight off the track. Barely kept it together. He's going side by side with Flying Spark at the moment. I'm not sure how this overtake is going to go or what rules are going to be in play. We're going to watch as they go side by side into Lake Holmes about now. They're still side by side. Flying Spark gives up position to avoid an accident. And we've got Gosu into the 6th position. Going down into No Name Corner. Actually... he went through Rivage. This right here is No Name Corner. So I need to get my corner straight, guys. And we're going to go further up the field, even further. And we've got No Not Really still trailing behind Bullet at the moment. And Fiskerton just doing his job in that number 3 car, number 3 Goodyear car, to control the pace of the race. The pace is key. It also keeps your tires from exploding. Now, Bullet might not have helped Fiskerton manage his tires, but he's definitely helped Fiskerton destroy his tires. Maybe we got some strat action. Typically, this is where I'd say make some great comments down below. I'll still read them, but apparently I'm not actually set up to look at them at the same time. Let's see if there's enough not going on in this race so far that I actually have time to grab my phone, as Bullet's caught up to Fiskerton fairly rapidly. And and it seems as if so far Fiskerton's kind of pulling Schumacher / Lewis Hamcheese style of backing everyone up and then speeding off into the proper sectors, just so that he can win the race kind of in the slowest facet possible. Not sure exactly how that's going, but Bullet's taking a look around the outside in that Ferrari, and he's not going to get the job done as of yet. He's going to try and see if he can stick with him through the 2nd sector. Probably try and get a move done, I believe, toward the beginning of Sector 3, past Paul Frere down toward Blanchimont. And that should give him enough of a run, which seems to be a slightly lower downforce configuration for Bullet, just by watching the closing rates coming off of his car, that he might be able to get a pass done before the end of Sector 3. Now, No Not Really is going to try and see if he can still be around just in case they both crash each other out, but... I'm not sure how this is going to play into account for the first set of stops. I believe the strategy can be a 1 or a 2 stop in this car, depending on how each of the competitors set up their car and what type of times they were running, and most likely what was going on in practice. But Bullet is really close to the back of Fiskerton's car, and Fiskerton's probably going to do all that he must to defend that position. Bullet attempted to see if he can go for the switchback, similar to what Fiskerton did a few laps earlier, but it doesn't seem as if he can quite get it done, as I can hear Bullet just closing in behind him, as we've got the weird engine glitch so far into the Grand Prix, and they just seem to be holding station. We've got Big O also keeping heads and tails of the whole situation. Static Energy, Gusso, Flying Spark, Mech Zero, Blind G's, they're all kind of following the leader until the next set of stops, and currently in the back it's just a race against time. We've got drivers like Tech G in the pace car, we've got Rip, and we've got Sinister just turning laps like full hot lap qualifying mode. Rip's gonna try and see if he can stay as far ahead of Sinister as he can before the first set of stops, and hopefully they'll be able to catch the front pack, who was earlier battling quite a bit, but now not as much. I'm not sure if they can back everyone up that much with their battling, that they will actually come into play all too much unless a bunch of people start making mistakes. But we are currently 13 laps left from the end. We're on lap 10 out of 22 for Spotter Foncorchon. If you have me try and use my French there, I don't have a little bit of French, not a lot. But so far we've got Bullet doing the do. We've got Fiskerton just kind of out front chilling, and we've got No Not Really just he's kind of just, it seems as if he's just trying to work out a way to get around them, as it looks as if Bullet's gonna try around the outside again. Now, we've seen a lot of attempts for this, but it seems like this time he's going to get it done, go around the outside, force Fiskerton a little wide there. No, Not Really there to pick up the pieces. What's going to happen? We've got Fiskerton behind Bullet. No, Not Really, we're going to watch from his on board, and very, very good defensive move from Bullet, but Fiskerton gets the better line. They're almost side by side going down into El Rouge. They're following each other behind very rapidly. This is going to be a very sketchy entry indeed, as the three cars just nose to tail, just flying down the Kimmel Straight as we speak. And I'm not exactly sure how this is necessarily going to end, as we've got Fiskerton and Bullet side by side once again. Fiskerton on the outside this time, and he's made the pass work again. So Fiskerton definitely must have some type of lower downforce setup or higher gear ratio or something going for him into that Kimmel Straight, whereas Bullet must have just all of the grip around a decent amount of the tracks, because he's getting some monstrous exits on Fiskerton to get some of these passes done. He's also very late on the brakes, which leads me to believe he has just a little bit more downforce than Fisk does. We've got No Not Really off into the third position, and he's just waiting for one of these two to make a very large mistake. He's nursing the tires, he's keeping the pace. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't bottle it before the first set of stops, because what I think might happen even in this situation, these two might pit, or they might try stack pits or whatever, and that'll be No Not's time to see if he can get some fast laps in and try and either undercut them or overcut them on the race strategy. The undercut is quite strong on this track, as we've seen from last time round, as we've got a race between Bullet and No Not Really. Bullet around the outside. It looks as if Sinister's just parked it. He's going to watch the battle unfold as No Not Really's gone around the outside. Bullet's off into the pits. No Not Really's down the straightaway. It looks like Bullet has triggered the undercut, as we've got Sinister way back down the order. What seemed to be either Sinister, no, that is indeed Dead Ice Ski watching the race. Apologize, the blue did throw me off quite a bit. We've got Fiskerton off into P1. He's probably going to be trying to set as fast a lap as he can, and No Not Really, who is visibly flying, trying to see if he can negate this either undercut or undercut, because there's only one thing Bullet did, and was plan the undercut almost perfectly, as I would say. We've got probably exactly 12-11 laps to go, which is halfway through the race, which is enough for a one stop. which is what most drivers, I believe, are going to tend to go for, as we've got Fiskerton into P number 1, no, not really, into P number 2, Gosu into P number 3, Bullet coming out into P4, we've got Mech Zero off into P7, everyone's off into the pits, Blind Yeezus into the pits, Mech Zero in the pits, Flying Spark coming out of the pits, Static Energy coming out of the pits, and I believe Rip is going to see if he can go right by the pits up into P9 for now. And if he's going for a one stop, that might even change details. He's going to go around the outside of Blind Jesus for now, going down into Air Rouge. He's definitely got warmer tires, but they're also pretty worn. He's spent 12 or 13 laps on these tires. And they probably don't have a lot of grip in them, so Blind Jesus is just going to see if he can go right back up the inside, since the tires are fairly warm out of the pits, and he can't quite get it done, but he holds it there. So we might see something happen between these two. It might be an easy move, but currently we've got Sinister off in the background. He's definitely doesn't have a lot of grip left in those tires. He's run off coming out through Lake Holmes, and not sure how much fuel these drivers carried on board, but it seems to be quite a bit, as they're still going past the halfway point into the race. But we're going to go back on board with Fiskerton, who is definitely in the pits. No, not really, he's in the pits, and they're in a pit stop battle, ladies and gentlemen. We will see who comes out first, as well as look at the timings and see where Bullet, Static, and Flying Spark come out, because they've already made their stop. Gosu is also in the pits as well. So we've got 3 cars in the pits, 1, 2, 3, and No Not Really's made it out before Fiskerton. So No Not Really effectively has stolen the lead of the race. Fiskerton right behind him, and Bullet's going to be coming down La Source as we speak. This is going to be a very tight one, but it looks as if Bullet has retained the position. He has made that undercut work, and now he just has to make sure that he watches those tires, because they're a lap older, which may or may not hinder him toward the end of the race. We've got about 10 laps to go, and I believe no matter what you choose, you should still make it to the end on 10 laps, but that's a sizable margin for that undercut. It's almost like a football field between Bullet, No Not Really, and Fiskerton in terms of battling, but Fiskerton's definitely going to be a little heated, and he's gonna see if he can try and get around No Not and see if he can make up that time. But so far, looking at this first initial go around on the newer tires, he's not going so quick. So we'll see how necessarily it goes momentarily. But so far, an interesting strategy indeed. Bullet pulling off the undercut and making it his own, and No Not Really just trying to see if he can reel back in that time. Now, the real question is, by trying to reel in that time, will he lose precious fuel and tires before he even gets to Bullet to even battle him in the last 10 laps of the race? Or will it be just enough to give him an edge toward the last 2 or 3 laps? Hopefully we'll see very shortly, but we're going down the order, and we've got Gosu, who still seems to, he's running on the newer compound tires. He's just ahead of Static Energy, so his strategy indeed definitely worked, and he's now launched himself straight into the 4th position. That Jurassic Park car must be fairly chuffed at the result that overcut seemed to give him. But he's just way ahead of the field at this point. Static Energy and Flying Spark, I believe, took pit stops about a lap later or a lap sooner. I'm not sure. No, they took them about a lap later. Actually, I take that back. It was indeed sooner, because they were in the pit stops around the same time Bullet was. So they might have a little bit of an edge in terms of tires and fuel, but they seem to be relatively close to each other. Actually, Flying Spark is miles away from these two, and Static Energy seems to be closing in to the rear end of that Jurassic Park car so far in the closing laps of this race. So that might shape up to be a battle as well, as we've got Flying Spark coming through the 2nd sector, Mech Zero trying to see if he can hunt him down, and Blind Jesus just cruising around in 8th. trying to make a result out of this day. We've got Tech G off into the 9th position, flying over the curbs of the pace car. And we've got Rip Chief Jedi off into 10th, ahead of Sinister off into 11th, and Foxifier down into 12th. Now, we have lost 2 cars so far. We've got Dead Ice-Ski taking a gander at how the race is developing, or he was taking a gander. He's now on track, trying to turn some laps at the moment. And we have Scott Meek off into the pits. So we've only lost 1 car out of this race so far. And Bullet is just lengths ahead of No Not Really at this point. He might just steal the... He just might steal the fight in that one pit stop right there. Very, very effective strategy here on Spa to get the undercut off first before your competitors. And Fiskerton just seems to be losing form here at the later stages of the race. Possibly a bit of a pit error. Maybe just the car not used to the tire and the fuel load. No adjustments going on. But he's struggling to see if he can get some pace out of the car compared to No Not Really and Bullet, who just seem to be turning some laps coming through the latter stages. But we're on board. Oh, excuse me. We're now on board with Gosu, who's just trying to keep the pace going between Static Energy. So that's some pretty cool stuff. And we've got Flying Spark holding his valiant 6th position for the standings. Turn that into some cash money, doing the team some justice. And we've got Mech Zero trying to take that all away from him. He's further back down the order. He's, I believe, 4 corners back. And we're a little bit unsure on Mech Zero's pace, but I think at this point in time, everyone's goal toward the back is just to kind of keep it as consistent as possible, as it seems like it's been a flat-out race all race between Rip Chief Jedi and Sinister. Sinister's catching up rather rapidly. Oh my lord, he's going to go up the inside. He's most likely going to get this pass done before the end of the straight, but they go through the braking zone very late, coming through Lacombs right now. And currently, Sinister's gotten that overtake done really early, and he's now off into P10. Rip Chief Jedi's off into P11. I'm pretty sure he's going to attempt to give Sinister as much of a fight as he can, as they are the only 2 cars back here at the moment. And Foxify is currently coming through the end of the 2nd sector, I believe. So I believe Foxifier might even be coming to be, or might has already been lapped. I'm not 100% sure on that. Actually, indeed, everyone Foxifier down has been lapped indeed. And it's just Sinister and Chief Jedi who are just catching up to him now. So Sinister is kind of on a mission at this point to just check out. This is a race he wants to forget. As for Rip Chief Jedi, he's just trying to keep up with Sinister because this is a race he wants to forget as well. And they both don't want to end up behind the other, as they both kind of had incidents in the first lap, and the bravado is real. So we're going to go back up the order. We've got Tech G cruising. And Static Energy has seemingly not completely lost track of Gosu, but Gosu is kind of pulling a steady pace, a rock steady pace from Static Energy at the moment. And we're going to see if Static Energy can just turn up the wick a little bit just to encourage Gosu in some mistakes. Not as if I believe he's going to make him that easily. He was a championship contender at one point. We all remember that M1 Pro Car Series. But currently, we've got Fiskerton off into P3. And No Not Really chasing down Bullet. This is very interesting indeed. Bullet is not that far away from No Not Really at the moment. Looks like about 1.5, 2.5 seconds going down toward the main straight. Actually, now it seems as if it's a lot more than that, just looking at how far they are in length from El Rouge. But if we look down the straightaway, we'll get a better idea. Yeah, he is pretty indeed far. He's still there, kind of, if he can just turn up the pace a little bit, but I don't believe Bullet's going to necessarily let that happen. Donut really set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 154.3. Actually, I am mistaken. Sinister has set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 153.8. And Nona really setting this second fastest, with Bullet setting the third fastest. We don't have lap-to-lap comparison, but both cars seem to be giving it all they got for the last 6 laps of the race, so they definitely must have the fuel in the tire to continue pushing this hard like this. Meanwhile, Fiskerton off into P number 3 is just kind of probably scratching his head and thinking where he went wrong with that strategy. Definitely almost had it in the bag at the opening opening stint right there until toward the end, where they had the pit stop phase and the overtakes happened, and he just kind of fizzled off after that point. Be interesting to see what happened to him after the race. Maybe we'll have a little podium interviews, maybe, who knows. But currently he's not going to be so happy about losing the pole conversion to the win to Bullet, even though he's one of the stronger championship contenders. We might as well call him Schumacher at this point. And we've got Static Energy still just trying to keep the pressure on Togosu as we look up at the sky, because Project Cars cameras aren't that great. So we've seemingly got a battle between Flying Spark and Mech Zero. This is going to be quite interesting indeed. The last time we saw these two, they were miles apart, but so far they are pretty close coming out of the sort down to the main straight up to Erouge, and we'll see how it goes down the Kimmel Straight. Will Flying Spark be able to hold it, or will it be Mech Zero's game? As he does have the run, he seems to have the overspeed on him and everything in his favor. I can't see how this could possibly completely go wrong. As Flying Spark goes around the outside, manages to make it in time, runs Mech Zero a little wide. He has to take some of the runoff, and he manages to keep the position. There's 5 laps remaining, and Flying Spark's got to be giving it everything to hold on to that 6th position, as I believe his tires may be indeed wearing down in the later stage of this race with the changeable conditions coming on. Maybe the track temp has either gone down or up, and they're experiencing a little bit of graining. If we take a slight look onto Mech Zero's car, we can see that the tires kind of sink into the ground quite a bit, so maybe there is a little bit of a loss in temperature on the track. It's just a theory, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on between the pace of Flying Spark and Mech Zero. Maybe it's just a little bit of a pick-me-up, as it seems like Flying Spark has indeed picked it up since we were last on board with him. But so far, Sinister absolutely checked out from Rip Chief Jedi, and Foxifire's in a bit of a race of his own at the moment. But going back to this battle in the last 4 laps, it seems as if Mech Zero's just trying to establish where he can try and overtake Flying Spark and probably fake him out into La Source. He's going right next to him. He couldn't quite pull it off, as the understeer kind of almost carried him into Flying Spark, but it was just enough to get alongside him for a brief moment in time and hopefully slow him down into Erouge so he can get a run back onto the Kimmel Straight. Very tactical opportunity indeed. He's going to try and go around the outside. Doesn't look as if Flying Spark's going to fight. He's just going to slot in right behind him so he can get the slipstream re-overtake done, but he can't quite get it done, and it's 6th and 7th, Mech Zero v Flying Spark, but it seems as if Mech Zero's lost it a little bit, almost lost the position once again, but he's managed to gain it back. He's holding it relatively easily. We're going to go check on No Not Really and Bullet, who seem to have just about the same gap as where we left them, with 4 laps remaining to running into Blanchiment just about now. A bit of tire smoke coming off of the car says he's put a lot of angle into that steering wheel, probably maybe even some push to pass into it just to stay a little bit ahead of No Not Really in the dying 4 laps. He's possibly saved 1 for each lap at this point in the race, as Fiskerton might not even have any toward the end of the race. He had to defend pretty hard at the beginning. We've got Gosu and Static Energy both keeping pace from each other as well, and we've got Mech Zero leading from Flying Spark, and hopefully we'll see something come to light coming down through this 3rd sector. It seems as if they're all going fairly slowly at the moment, and it seems as if Blind Jesus just flying around the outside of Flying Spark. What's going on? I believe Flying Spark might have even gotten either damage or just running very low on fuel. Indeed, his car's just slowing down to a crawl just so suddenly. I'm not sure what indeed is going down, but if I had to guess, I don't see any smoke coming out of his car. He might even be out of gas, as Mech Zero has crashed trying to come into the pits. Indeed, Flying Spark is also trying to get into the pits. I believe they both possibly had an incident with each other, which is really unfortunate, because that, in the dying laps, just that one incident has put Blind Jesus into 6th place. Probably not exactly where he's expecting to be. So very, very good stuff from Blind Jesus. We've got Static Energy in 5th, Gosu 4th, Fiskerton 3rd. No, not really closing all that much. And so far, I don't believe there are any more fights through the field. We've got Foxifier behind Tech G, but he's a lap down. We've got Sinister catching up to the back of Tech G. He's creeping. He's a-creeping. And we've got Rip Chief Jedi also creeping behind Foxifier. So I believe what we have ahead of, what we have behind Deck G is not indeed Foxfire. It is this Dead Ice-Ski. And he's a lap down as well. I believe he's 2 laps down, if I recall. And then we have Rip Chief Jedi trying to catch up to the back of Foxfire and Dead Ice-Ski. So we've got Mech Zero, Flying Spark for the battle, and they're about to be lapped as well. So everyone down from 12th place is being lapped. Okay, that's interesting. So I think Foxfire may have almost unlapped himself or something. I'm not 100% sure. We had a little bit of a weird visual glitch there, and I wasn't sure what was going down. So everyone 5th down is a lap down, and everyone below that is a lap or 2 down, which is pretty interesting indeed. But so far we've got Bullet from No Not Really, again, Fiskerton, Gosu apparently trying to stay ahead of a charging Flying Spark with newer tires, and we have Blind Jesus trying to hold that lap. So I believe that's about it for the commentary so far. The race is pretty much concluded, unless No Not Really can get something done on Bullet coming into Blanchiment, which No Not Really almost completely lost it there, hitting a patch of dirt on the entry to Blanchiment and taking the turn in. And he's also run pretty wide on the corner. Could it be his brakes fading a bit? I'm not sure. We'd have to ask him. But unless something goes down between these two, it's going to be Bullet in the 1st and No Not Really in the 2nd position. 3rd is almost guaranteed, all but guaranteed for Fiskerton, as we've got Gosu catching up to him on the final lap. So if Gosu has the pace, he might be able to even overhaul Fiskerton for 3rd position. I don't believe it, because there's a very long straight between the two. And Fiskerton's already gone through errors, so unless Fiskerton runs out of gas, it's all but certain. No, not really off into the second position. These two have been battling pretty hard from the get-go. They've kind of just been setting time trial laps so far into the race, and just trying to keep it pretty consistent. It's relatively difficult to overtake around the second sector of Spa, as we all know. It's also kind of difficult to get alongside people in the third sector, project cars especially, because it does feel a little bit narrower than I'm typically used to on other places. But we're coming through on the last lap of the Grand Prix with our race leader and winner. So far it looks as if Bullet, here in the Ferrari Fiat Marlboro car, modern day Schumacher indeed. There's almost, I probably couldn't count on one hand, or two if for that matter, how many wins this man has gotten here in PRD. But this is his 6th season, ahead of No Not Really, Deadeye Ski just there for the lulls, but we've got Bullet from No Not Really. And we're gonna come down to the final corner of La Source now. And we're gonna have Bullet win the Belgian Grand Prix of PRD Indycar. Get in there. No, Not Really is going to come rock steady second. We're going to have Fiskerton. He's going to come across the line just about now to secure his podium for the season. I'm not sure if he's gained any others, but not too half a bad a race from him. He's not going to be too happy about losing the pole conversion to win, but he did his job. We've got Gosu in the 4th position, Static Energy in 5th. We've got Flying Spark and Mech Zero still battling for the 6th position. I'm not sure what happened to Blind Jesus, but he's been left in the dust so far. So we've got Flying Spark ahead of Mech Zero, and I believe, yeah, they have passed in that order. That's just their AI driving. Blind Jesus come back into 8th. We've got Ali Tech G in 9th, Sinister in 10th, Rip Chief Jedi in 11th, they're going to be coming through, and Foxfire off into 12th, and Deadeye Ski into 13th. Scott Meek did not finish. So that is your running order for this time around. Please be sure to check out the Twitter page just for any weekly or daily or monthly updates on when the live stream is going to be going down for the PRD races. I'll see if I can cover as many as I can between doing some races if I'm prepared for them and just doing some commentary because I enjoy doing it. So yeah, please be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter. I don't have an Instagram account set up quite yet. I haven't really found a use for one. Twitch is also an option, especially if you like things like Motorsport Manager and other kind of awkward games that I do like to check in on from time to time. But this has been the live stream, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.